Today we will discuss about key enzymes of carbohydrate metabolism. So there are lots of metabolic pathway that we have learned in carbohydrate and their key enzymes they are frequently asked in the Viva as well as a MCQ question. So which are the important metabolic pathway of carbohydrate? First one that is glycolysis and second one that is gluconeogenesis. Glycolysis means breakdown of glucose. Gluconeogenesis means new glucose molecule formation. Neo word that is mean a new glucose molecule formation. Same way glycogen synthesis and glycogen breakdown. Glycogen that is a storage form of carbohydrate. So glycogen synthesis and glycogen breakdown and its key enzyme that we will look. Further most important minor pathway of carbohydrate that is HMP shunt pathway that is hexose monophosphate shunt pathway. Further fructose and galactose metabolism as well as polyol pathway and alcohol metabolism. These are the important points of the carbohydrate metabolism. Further one more important that is pentosuria. So we will look important key enzymes of this all pathway in this video. So first about glycolysis. Glycolysis is also known as the Embden-Meyerhof pathway. So sometime EM pathway or Embden-Meyerhof pathway that is as an alternative of a glycolysis that is asked in a Viva as well as in a MCQ. So what happen in glycolysis? Simple glucose to pyruvate and in anaerobic condition that is lactate formation. Now key enzyme of glycolysis they are the three. You have to remember three are the kinase glucokinase or hexokinase. Most importantly you can speak a hexokinase. Second one that is phosphofructokinase or called PFK. Third one that is pyruvate kinase. These three key enzyme of a glycolysis, all three are the kinases: hexokinase, phosphofructokinase and pyruvate kinase. Hexokinase function that is to convert glucose to glucose 6 phosphate. Phosphofructokinase function that is fructose 6 phosphate to fructose 1,6 bis phosphate formation. And lastly pyruvate kinase, the important function of this pyruvate kinase that is phosphoenol pyruvate to pyruvate formation. So these three are the key enzyme of a glycolysis. Now insulin favors the glycolysis by activating the above three key glycolytic enzymes. Simple, insulin is basically purpose to reduce glucose level. How glucose level will be reduced? By utilization of it, and this glucose will be utilized by this glycolysis. So insulin favors the glycolysis by activating these three key enzymes: hexokinase, phosphofructokinase and pyruvate kinase. For the glucocorticoids that is opposite to insulin, so that will inhibit glycolysis by inhibiting particularly PFK1 that is phosphofructokinase 1, which is the key enzyme of a glycolysis. So you have to remember three key enzyme of a glycolysis. Next we will look about the gluconeogenesis. Simple, if you know about glycolysis then it is very easy to understand about gluconeogenesis. So glucose to pyruvate formation, these three enzymes is needed: hexokinase, phosphofructokinase and pyruvate kinase. These three are also irreversible in a glycolysis. Rest of the enzyme of glycolysis are the reversible. So these three will be reversed in a gluconeogenesis by another type of enzyme. These three key enzyme of glycolysis and they are the irreversible. Now that activity will be reversed with the help of these four enzyme instead of the three. So pyruvate kinase activity, that is conversion of the phosphoenol pyruvate to pyruvate. Now in the gluconeogenesis we have to convert pyruvate to again phosphoenol pyruvate, but it is not possible with this pyruvate kinase. So it is possible with the help of PC, that is pyruvate carboxylase, that will convert pyruvate to first oxaloacetate, and this oxaloacetate will be combined with the phosphoenol pyruvate carboxykinase that is called PEPCK, that is key enzyme, and so oxaloacetate will be converted into the phosphoenol pyruvate. So that is reverse of the pyruvate kinase, but here two enzyme are the key enzyme of gluconeogenesis: pyruvate carboxylase and another one that is PEPCK, that is phosphoenol pyruvate carboxykinase. So simply you can remember PC and PEPCK. Now another key enzyme of glycolysis that is phosphofructokinase, now it is reversed with the help of fructose 1,6 bisphosphatase. Now it will convert, this enzyme will convert fructose 1,6 bisphosphate into the fructose 6 phosphate. Now last key enzyme of gluconeogenesis, that is reversal of the hexokinase, so that is glucose 6 phosphatase, that will convert glucose 6 phosphate into the glucose. Now this enzyme is most important for this gluconeogenesis as well as Viva and MCQ purpose, because this enzyme that is making glucose, means for the glucose formation this enzyme is needed, but this enzyme is particularly absent in muscle, that is normal thing, absent in a muscle, that is glucose 6 phosphatase. Because of this absent of this enzyme, muscle is not able to make glucose molecule. Only liver can produce glucose because this enzyme is present particularly in the liver, but muscle is lacking of this enzyme. Further, if Normally, it is absent in muscle, but if there is a genetic problem and genetic disease, that is absence of this glucose 6 phosphatase in the liver, that can lead to the von Jack disease. That is most important glycogen storage disease. So that is about the key enzyme of gluconeogenesis. You can remember PC, PPCK, fructose 1,6 bisphosphatase, and glucose 6 phosphatase. Three key enzyme of glycolysis and four key enzyme of the gluconeogenesis. Further, that is glycogen metabolism. So the synthetic and degradative pathway are reciprocally regulated for this glycogen molecule. So key enzyme for glycogenesis means formation of glycogen molecule, that is glycogen synthase, while glycogenolysis means breakdown of glycogen with the help of glycogen phosphorylase. Glycogen phosphorylase, that is for the breakdown of glycogen synthase for the formation of glycogen. Now interesting is that glycogen phosphorylase B, that is inactive form, but when it is getting phosphate molecule, then it is converted glycogen phosphorylase A, and that is in the active form. Now that is activity, but same way when this phosphorylation, that is leading to the activation of glycogen phosphorylase, but when phosphorylation of this glycogen synthase, that will be converted into the inactive form. So phosphorylation, that is one important reaction, but this phosphorylation will lead to the activation of phosphorylase, glycogen phosphorylase, but inactivate glycogen synthase. Now exactly how this enzyme and activities that we will look. Glycogenolysis means breakdown of glycogen. So here phosphorylase, glycogen phosphorylase enzyme is needed, and that will activity is increase in the presence of epinephrine and glucagon. So ultimate purpose of glucagon, that is to increase glucose level. But how glucose level will increase? That is from the breakdown of the glycogen. So breakdown will possible with the help of glycogen phosphorylase enzyme. So glucagon activate this enzyme activity. So ultimately glycogen will liberate glucose 1 phosphate in the surrounding. Glucose 1 phosphate is converted into the glucose 6 phosphate, glucose 6 phosphate to glucose, and that is possible only in the liver. Same way glycogen synthesis, when excessive glucose is present, this glycogen will get this glucose molecule in the form of UDP glucose, and glycogen synthesis helping to make a glycogen with a one more glucose molecule, and this activity will favored in the presence of insulin. So that is glycogenolysis and glycogen synthesis. Now further important reaction of this glycogen, and that is converted into the glycogen with one less glucose residue, and that is occurring called as a glycogen phosphorylase, and that is occurring in the presence of pyridoxal phosphate, that is vitamin B6. So vitamin B6 is needed for the glycogen breakdown. Epinephrine and glucagon in liver, and epinephrine particularly in the muscle. So that will lead to the hormone receptor complex formation, activate adenyl cyclase. So adenyl cyclase is converting ATP into a cyclic AMP, and cyclic AMP is converted into the AMP with the phosphodiester. But this cyclic AMP is playing important role in regulation of this glycogen metabolism. How? So glycogen is stimulated. So cyclic AMP stimulate this glycogen to conversion into the release of a glucose molecule, and that is glycogen phosphorylase. So this glycogen phosphorylase will be activated, so glycogen will release one glucose molecule. So one glucose 1 phosphate is released, and from that glucose is generated in the liver. But what happen in the muscle, that glucose 1 phosphate will be converted into the glucose 6 phosphate and directly enter in a glycolysis pathway. So under the effect of epinephrine and glucagon in the liver and epinephrine in the muscle, that will lead to the release of glucose into the tissue as well as in the blood. So that is same way this epinephrine and glucagon is basically working based on the cyclic AMP activity, but same way this cyclic AMP will inhibit this glycogen synthase. So at the time of release of glucose from the glycogen synthase process will not occur. So that you have to remember about glycogen synthesis and breakdown. So key enzyme of this glycogen metabolism, that is glycogen release or glycogen breakdown, that is glycogen phosphorylase, glycogen synthesis, that is simple glycogen synthase enzyme. Now another important pathway of carbohydrate metabolism, that is hexose monophosphate shunt pathway. It is called a minor pathway. It is another name of the same other glycolysis, that is Embden-Meyerhof pathway. This pathway is also known as Dicken-Horecker pathway. For the shunt pathway, another name, that is hexose monophosphate pathway, another name, that is pentose phosphate pathway, direct oxidative pathway, or phosphogluconate oxidative pathway. These all are the other name of the HMP shunt pathway that you have to remember. Sometime alternative name can be asked in a MCQ or in the Viva. So about 10% of glucose molecule per day are entering in this pathway. This pathway is considered a minor pathway. And further, The liver and RBC metabolize about 30% of glucose by this pathway. The major purpose of this pathway that you have to remember is generation of NADPH. It is not NADH, it is NADPH. You have to remember no ATP is generated in this HMP shunt pathway. And this pentose phosphate formation, that is pentose phosphate, mainly ribose and deoxyribose for the RNA and DNA formation, that is importance of this pathway in our body. Now overview of this pentose phosphate pathway that we will look: simple glucose 2 pyruvate formation, that is called glycolysis process, but glucose 6 phosphate that is diverted to this HMP shunt pathway or pentose phosphate pathway. So glucose 6 phosphate is diverted to HMP shunt pathway. This HMP shunt pathway is categorized in a two thing or breakdown in a two phase: oxidative phase and non-oxidative phase. The main purpose of oxidative phase, that is formation of NADPH. This NADPH is utilized for the fatty acid synthesis, glutathione reduction, as well as other biosynthetic process formation. Simple, you can remember that cholesterol formation, steroid hormone formation, it is also utilized. Same way, when this oxidative phase, carbon dioxide molecule is removed, and finally ribulose 5 phosphate will be generated. Now this ribulose 5 phosphate that is interconvert in a so many reaction, and finally we can get this ribose 5 phosphate. Over that nucleotides biosynthesis is possible. Now at the end of reaction of pentose phosphate pathway, we are getting fructose 6 phosphate that can again enter in a glycolysis both pathway. So simple, it is a shunting of the glycolysis, so it is called a shunt pathway. Why it is called shunt pathway? Because it is just a shunting of a glycolysis pathway. So that is overview of the HMP shunt pathway. What happened basically in oxidative phase, this glucose 6 phosphate which is entering in the pathway first convert into the 6 phosphogluconolactone, then it is converted into the 6 phosphogluconic acid, and finally making ribulose 5 phosphate. But during this three reaction, basically one NADPH and second NADPH is generated. In between this hydrolysis, which is adding of a water molecule, is occurring. So ultimately in this oxidative phase, two NADH molecule and one carbon dioxide molecule is removed in this HMP shunt pathway, and that is importance of this particular HMP shunt pathway, that you have to remember two molecule of NADPH and one molecule of pentose phosphate with the liberation of one molecule of carbon dioxide. That is most important part of this oxidative phase. So once oxidative phase is over, totally we are getting ribulose 5 phosphate. To making equilibrium possible, generally 6 glucose 6 phosphate is taken in this reaction, and at the end of reaction, what happen in the oxidative phase, 6 NADPH, again 6 NADPH, total 12 NADPH will be generated, 6 carbon dioxide molecule is removed, and we will get 6 ribulose 5 phosphate. There is lots of interconversion of this 6 ribulose 5 phosphate will occur with the help of transketolase, total 2 transketolase and 1 transaldolase. So many time in the MCQ is asked, HMP shunt pathway, how many transketolase? 2 transketolase and 1 transaldolase enzyme is present, and ultimately we will get 5 fructose 6 phosphate that will be again reconverted into the glucose 6 phosphate. So initially entering of a 6 glucose 6 phosphate, and at the end we are getting 5 glucose 6 phosphate. So 6 carbon that is eliminated in the form of 6 carbon dioxide. So that is overview of the oxidative phase and non-oxidative phase. So that interconversion of these 5 carbon into the so many other important carbohydrate molecule, that is called a non-oxidative phase of the HMP shunt pathway. Now further importance of this carbohydrate metabolism, important pathway, that is UDP glucose into the UDP glucuronic acid and D-glucuronic acid formation. This glucuronic acid is many times used for the conjugation of the bilirubin. So that is part importance of this glucuronidase. Further importance of this pathway, that is formation of this ascorbic acid. Now importance is that ascorbic acid is not synthesized inside our body, not in a lower primate. This pathway, particularly formation of ascorbic acid, is blocked in our body, basically in primates, guinea pigs, and in human beings. This particular pathway is blocked because our body does not contain gluconolactone oxidase enzyme. This enzyme is also frequently asked in the Viva and MCQ. You have to remember that gluconolactone oxidase, which is not present in our body, so our body cannot synthesize ascorbic acid. So that is also important enzyme of this carbohydrate metabolism. Further, in this pathway, you have to remember that L-cellulose that is converted to the D-cellulose. This cellulose, that is one kind of a pentose sugar, and this particular L-xylulose or xylitol, if it is excreted in urine, that can lead to the pentosuria. So because this particular xylitol dehydrogenase or the xylulose reductase enzyme is deficient, that will lead to the excretion of L-xylulose in the urine that will be accumulated. It is not creating any harm, but you have to make it clear if there is essential pentosuria, that should not be confused with a diabetes mellitus, because when you will do Benedict test in the urine, due to presence of this pentose sugar, it will give positive, this pentose sugar will give positive Benedict test. So it should not be confused with the diabetes mellitus, and that is the most importance of this essential pentosuria. So you have to remember these two enzymes, xylitol dehydrogenase and xylulose reductase, for a essential pentosuria. So you have to remember gulonolactone oxidase as well as these two enzymes for the essential pentosuria. These are the important point of the carbohydrate metabolism. Further importance of the polyol pathway of glucose. Now polyol, so pathway converts glucose to the fructose. So that is importance of the polyol pathway. What is the function of polyol pathway? That is conversion of glucose to fructose. These pathways active in brain and seminal vesicles. Now the interesting is that this pathway is inactive in the liver. So how exactly occurring? This glucose is converted into the sorbitol, so making of a polyol means multiple hydroxyl group, so it is called polyol, and this is possible with the aldose reductase enzyme. It is utilizing NADPH. So D-glucose is converted into the sorbitol. Further, this sorbitol will be converted into the D-fructose with the help of again this NAD plus, and here sorbitol dehydrogenase enzyme is needed. So that is conversion of D-glucose to sorbitol and sorbitol to D-fructose. The importance of this pathway, that is formation of fructose whenever the needed. So as per particularly brain and seminal vesicle, particular in seminal fluid, this fructose is present, and that is generally synthesized with the help of this polyol pathway. So that is importance of the polyol pathway. Aldose reductase, that is frequently asked how this orbital is generated in our body. You have to remember this aldose reductase enzyme. Now further, fructose metabolism. Now opposite to polyol pathway, fructose metabolism predominantly occurring in the liver. Polyol pathway, that is inactive in the liver, but fructose metabolism is occurring in the liver. Now fructose to fructose 1-phosphate is formed with the help of fructokinase. You have to remember glucokinase, that is making glucose to glucose 6-phosphate, but fructokinase making fructose to fructose 1-phosphate. So here this fructose to fructose 6-1-phosphate formation, and here fructokinase enzyme is needed, but if this enzyme is absent, that can lead to the fructosuria, means excretion of fructose in the urine. It is also not creating any problem, but it is very, you have to make it clear that fructose can also give a positive Benedict test, so it should not be confused with the diabetes mellitus. If Benedict test is positive, then it may be a fructose or it may be a glucose. You have to confirm. So fructosuria, that is occurring in a fructokinase deficiency. So fructose to fructose 1-phosphate. Now fructose 1-phosphate is converted into the glyceraldehyde, and this glyceraldehyde can be converted to the glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate and enter in a glycolysis pathway. But fructose 1-phosphate to this glyceraldehyde formation, this aldolase B enzyme is needed. So along with this glyceraldehyde dihydroxyacetone phosphate, same as a this that same as a glycolysis pathway, here aldolase B enzyme that is needed for the further metabolism of this fructose 1-phosphate. But if this aldolase B enzyme is absent, that will lead to the hereditary fructose intolerance, and it is very dangerous condition. At some time jaundice or hepatomegaly is also seen in this hereditary fructose intolerance. What happened? Because of this accumulation of this fructose 1-phosphate, sometime glycogen metabolism will be affected and child will be undergo the hypoglycemic condition. So if this aldolase B deficiency is very dangerous, it is leading to the hereditary fructose intolerance due to affecting of a glycogen metabolism. This deficiency that can lead to hypoglycemia as well as hepatomegaly and jaundice is seen in this aldolase B deficiency. So regarding fructose metabolism, you have to remember polyol pathway previously. Further, you have to remember fructokinase, that is leading to the fructosuria, aldolase B deficiency, that is leading to the hereditary fructose intolerance. Now another important pathway, that is galactose metabolism. So galactose is converted into the galactose 1-phosphate, same as a fructokinase, here galactokinase that will convert galactose into the galactose 1-phosphate. Here magnesium, you can remember all kinase enzymes need magnesium for the activity. So magnesium is needed for all kinase enzyme. Galactose is converted to galactose 1 phosphate. Now this galactose 1 phosphate will be converted into the UDP galactose. The ultimate purpose of UDP galactose formation, that is lactose formation in the body. For the lactose formation in our body, basically UDP galactose is needed. Glucose plus galactose, that is making a lactose. But if this enzyme which is needed, that is galactose 1 phosphate uridyl transferase, here that substrate, that is galactose 1 phosphate UDP uridyl transferase, that is absent, and that is leading to the galactosemia formation. So UDP galactose is not generated, and that can lead to the galactosemia. And it is most important thing, it is seen frequently in the children, and when it is by birth this enzyme is defect, you have to remember most important characteristic of this galactosemia, that is congenital cataract. Means by birth cataract is seen, then most likely a condition of a galactosemia. So this pathway is important for the important condition, that is galactosemia. You have to remember enzyme, that is galactose 1 phosphate uridyl transferase, that is the key enzyme of this galactose metabolism. So galactose 1 phosphate uridyl transferase deficiency lead to the galactosemia, characterized by the congenital cataract or by birth cataract. Now this pathway that have a alternative, but this alternative will open up in the body at the 4 to 5 year of the age. So this another pathway, that is formation of galactose 1 phosphate to the directly UDP galactose, that is possible with the help of this galactose 1 phosphate pyrophosphorylase enzyme. But this pathway will open up after 4 to 5 years in the liver. So till that we have to take care that child should not get this galactose. So we can reduce galactose in the diet, and we can prevent this complication or further the effect of this galactosemia. So that is about the galactose metabolism. Last importance of this carbohydrate metabolism, you have to remember alcohol metabolism. So most important, that is ethanol. So ethanol is metabolized inside the cytosol with the help of alcohol dehydrogenase enzyme. Here NAD plus is converted into the NADH, and that can provide energy. So ethanol will be converted into the acetaldehyde. So ethanol to acetaldehyde formation with the help of alcohol dehydrogenase, that is in the cytosol. Another same acetaldehyde formation from the ethanol is possible with the endoplasmic reticulum. But in the endoplasmic reticulum, another enzyme, that is microsomal ethanol oxidizing system, in the presence of oxygen, cytochrome P450 and NADPH, that can also convert ethanol to the acetaldehyde. So ethanol to acetaldehyde with the help of two reaction, either with the help of alcohol dehydrogenase or microsomal ethanol oxidizing system, that is called MEOS, that is in a endoplasmic reticulum. Now this acetaldehyde further metabolized inside the mitochondria with the help of aldehyde dehydrogenase enzyme. Again NADH is generated with the help of this aldehyde dehydrogenase, and this acetate will be generated. This acetate will go in the blood. So these two enzyme, alcohol dehydrogenase, aldehyde dehydrogenase, and another pathway of this alcohol metabolism, that is microsomal ethanol oxidizing system. So that is importance of this particular ethanol metabolism. Most important is that instead of ethanol, if there is a methanol, that is more dangerous, that will generate by this metabolism formaldehyde, and formaldehyde to the formic acid formation, and it is very toxic to the liver. So you have to take care ethanol that can be metabolized inside the body, but methanol, it is producing a very toxic effect over the liver, and that can damage the liver. So that is all about the alcohol metabolism. So that's all about the important metabolic pathway of the carbohydrate and key enzyme of that all metabolic pathway.